Hey there, YouTube. We're jumping into our UK news right now. This fella here who represents the CW, the Communications Union, Peter Stefanovic. I've never seen this fella before. This is the Communications CWU. All this seems really familiar to me. But anyway, he had this really great video that I watched about how certain behavior from certain members of parliament, how could this not be seen as contempt of parliament? Just the way that they're acting, and you'll see what I mean here.
On the 16th of March, the leader of the House of Commons, Penny Mordaunt, rightly told MPs they must not try to interfere with the work of the Privileges Committee investigating whether former Prime Minister Boris Johnson knowingly misled the Commons over Partygate.
And it is a very serious matter he raises. Members serving on the Privileges Committee are doing this House a service. He is right to say that, and we should all remember that. And they need to be permitted to get on with their work without fear or favour. And I would also remind honourable and right honourable members that in this House, that this House asked them to do this work. We referred this matter to the committee for them to consider, and we asked them to do this work and to do it well, and they should be left to get on with this. That is the will of this House, and I think a very dim view will be taken of either any member who tries to prevent them from carrying out this serious work, or anyone from outside this House that interferes.
In an email seen by the Independent, Commons Speaker Lindsay Hoyle has written to MPs reminding them that interference with or intimidation of a committee is potentially a contempt of the House. So with all that in mind, listen to Conservative MP Nadine Dorries.
I don't think there was ever a world in which this committee was going to find Boris innocent. The committee had demonstrated very clearly.
This kind of stuff is really, really fucking dangerous, because what you're saying is that there's no that the entire process is illegitimate, that the entire investigation, it was all just a partisan manhunt, and what you're doing is you're completely discrediting your own democracy's legitimacy in doing that. It's really, really dangerous fucking language. He went on that Lolita Express more than a few times. Good old Trumpy there with Jeffrey Epstein. God, that's so funny what they allow on DLive. Anyway, let's proceed with what she had to say here. Let's back it up a little bit.
Innocent. The committee had never a world in which this committee was going to find Boris innocent. The committee had demonstrated very clearly that they had decided early on to find him guilty. The committee knew that they had not a shred of evidence to prove that he misled with intent. They changed the rules, lowered the bar, and inserted the vague term reckless into the terms of reference.
It's
Boris
never
Johnson
good enough.
Will be found guilty by this kangaroo court. There is no doubt about that.
Kangaroo court.
And that in itself will be a disgraceful and possibly unlawful conclusion with serious reputational consequences.
And, this is kind of a new phenomenon in UK politics, which is, politicians who are caught red-handed, just denying reality and just going along with it as if they've did nothing wrong. They got a whole media apparatus now to back them up. It's kind of a new thing in UK politics, where they just, these Jacob Rees-Mogg like characters can just lie and gaslight. And no, actually Brexit was a good thing, and there's a lot of benefits, and no, I don't have any examples for you, but this is what you're doing is just a witch hunt against me, and you're a Ramoner, and you're just a hater. This is apparently a new phenomenon in the UK. I think it has something to do with some of these right-wing media apparatuses that have been installed, because they act very much like Fox News, which is just injecting constant doubt into any perceived slight against the right wing, gaslighting, creating a whole new reality, and then that reality is repeated until it's accepted as the actual reality. So this woman and the language she's using is actually very damaging to UK democracy. And if the people in the UK, if I want to give you any advice from a US guy, I can tell you the people in the UK watch out. Be very wary of characters like this and networks like this, because they will actively, destroy the legitimacy of your democracy. They are a danger to your democracy.
The substantial question is this: will they impose the 10-day suspension at the point at which they will find him guilty? Doing so would trigger a by-election and end the career of a former Prime Minister
fake news,
who
fake
got
news.
us through COVID, got us the vaccines, opened Britain up before other countries, giving us an economic...
Isn't that cute? Listen to how she describes the incredibly destructive Brexit, right? They still want to give Boris credit for getting Brexit done, but Brexit is such a bad thing, they don't even call it out by name anymore. Listen to the third thing.
By-election and end the career of a former Prime Minister who got us through COVID, got us the vaccines, opened Britain up before...
Got us the vaccines like he developed them. Like he developed them.
Prime Minister who got us through COVID, got us the vaccines, opened Britain up before other countries.
Open Britain up. Is that what you call removing yourself from the single market? Opening Britain up? It's the fisheries. There's so many small businesses that are being decimated or completely destroyed by opening Britain up, by removing yourself from the open market. No other country has ever done that. Downgraded their economy in such a way. But yeah, let's give Boris credit for that still. It's pathetic. It's really sad shit. And like it's one thing, this woman's getting paid, right? If you're listening to this and repeating it, you're the fool.
Giving us an economic advantage over
thank
the
God
rest
you
of the
said
world,
something stupid enough
and
for me to
led
kick you out.
global leaders to support Ukraine against the invasion by Putin. It is unthinkable that they would do so. But if a committee is prepared to bend the rules and change the course of their investigation midway in order to find him guilty, would you put anything past that committee?
And here's another Conservative MP, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
But I am worried about the Americanization of our political system. That in America, as soon
and here's another one, the GBN. These networks, like the One America News, it's just Gaslight Central. They don't take. They're not the Fox model. That takes little grains of truth and still tries to pretend to be some kind of journalistic organization. It's just straight propaganda. It's just propaganda. That's what we see on One America News, and all the others that we see over here. Newsmax is another good example. Breitbart TV, the Blaze Network. What's his fucking name? The failed comedian, his little network. It's just propaganda. And what they encourage their audience to do is kind of cult-like, right? Cut out all those other fake news sources, those news sources with an agenda. We are the only legitimate news source. Even the other, Sky News and the other ones, they're not to be trusted. The only one you can trust is us, and they deliver 24/7 emotional-based propaganda that is successfully destroying democracies everywhere. It's a whole template that they use now. The fascist right-wingers. Talk TV, GBN, One America News, Newsmax. It's a concentrated effort to inject doubt into respected democratic systems so that they can corrupt them in their favor.
What's that committee?
And here's another Conservative MP, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
But I am worried about the
Bannon,
Americanization of
sure.
our political system. That in America, as soon as a politician upsets any interest group, there is legal action, there are impeachments. Impeachments have become more and more common, which assumes people don't act in good faith and undermines...
Is he talking about the Trump impeachments? I'm sorry, impeachments are not common, Jacob Rees-Mogg. He really has no respect for your intelligence. He really just expects for you to just take him at face value and not even look it up. I mean, what he's saying is complete bollocks. Am I allowed to say that? That it's bollocks. There's no investigation after investigation by private, like if you criticize private industry, what?
Group. There is legal action, there are impeachments.
What?
About the Americanization of our political system. That in America, as soon as a politician upsets any interest group, there is legal action, there are impeachments. Impeachments have become more and more common, which assumes...
The fuck they have.
People don't act in good faith and undermines trust, poisons the well of politics. Because
Rank
the truth is,
hypocrisy.
most politicians
Literally exactly what he's doing. And this, I mean, these people are, they have to be aware of what they're doing at this point.
of either persuasion act in good faith, even if they then make mistakes. And this is not a legal question, it is a political question. The Privileges Committee is not even a proper legal.
This entire effort is literally them gaslighting us into not believing our own ears and eyes and the statements made by witnesses who were there. He was at a party drinking, cavorting. There were people puking. It was a fucking party. No, wasn't this, wasn't that. And, you know, and we went down the liar's fucking, the narcissist poem. Like, it wasn't me. And if it was me, it wasn't my fault. And if it was my fault, I didn't mean it. And if I did mean it, then it's you know, it just goes right down. And this entire effort is to get this fat loser's lie installed into our fucking brains, fucking inseminated.
Setup. It has a gossamer of constitutional propriety thrown over it, but it is in fact a political committee against Boris Johnson, who had a mandate. And why is his mandate challenged? Why has it been successfully challenged? Well, of course, it's by the haters of Brexit.
So this is all just a fake news by the Ramoners, revenge for Brexit. Dangerous lies. These are dangerous lies.
Haters of Brexit who never accepted the election result that he achieved and what he did to take this country out of the European Union.
And ironically, Keir Starmer and whatever you would call the left, it fully accepts Brexit now. They basically say, we're not even going to try to change it anymore. It's not even close to true. It's like when the right-wingers call Joe Biden a communist.
On what planet is calling the Privileges Committee a rule-bending kangaroo court and a political committee against Boris Johnson? Disgraceful comments obviously designed to undermine the investigation by the Privileges Committee, not a contempt of Parliament. Over to you, Mr. Speaker.
But what he's saying is that the Speaker should be calling these people out for their outrageous statements made outside of Parliament. The how they are trying to delegitimize the Parliament and, you know, investigations in general. You know, because I mean, where does this end? It doesn't end. It's like literally every investigation against us is a kangaroo court, is just revenge, Ramoners coming after us. Okay, we don't have time for another TLDR. I wanted to watch this. Basically, they're just talking about how this Partygate could quote unquote end Johnson, you know, Boris Johnson for good. We'll see. We'll see. He's like fucking, you know, foot fungus, man. He just does not fucking go away. Because it's a whole new paradigm, right? You have this whole apparatus that backs up your lies, and no matter what you do, as long as it's not sex stuff, but even in Boris's case, if it's cheeky straight guy sex stuff, that's okay. If you do any gay stuff, oh, you got to go. You know, if Boris Johnson was sucking some, you know, 19-year-old guy off in a fucking hotel room, the Conservative Party would have dropped him real quick. But he's just cheating on his wife. You know, hey, he's a scamp. He's a scamp. He's a scamp. So that's okay. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Boris Johnson. But if you want to see this video right here that I don't have time for, check it out. I do want to make time for this, though. This is really something else. Really cool new kind of political group making videos about corrupt politicians. They're called Led by Donkeys. And they did an undercover investigation at just, you know, in terms of, you know, how corrupt some of these politicians are, how susceptible they are to bribes and things like that. And they're doing a whole movie, but this is a trailer for that documentary.
We were wondering, do you have a daily rate at the moment?
I do, yes. It's 10,000 sterling.
This is Seoul, home to the headquarters of Hanson Consulting, a South Korean company with plans to expand into the UK and Europe. And this is Soo-yeon Lee, the company's Vice President of External Affairs. She's trying to recruit British MPs to join the company's International Advisory Board and has been conducting job interviews on Zoom.
Can you see me?
No, I can't see you yet.
There we go.
Hello?
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Good morning. How are you? Great. Hi. How are you?
What these MPs
Kwasi Kwarteng in the mix.
don't know is that Hanson Consulting doesn't actually exist. It's been entirely made up by Led by Donkeys. It has no headquarters, there's no advisory board, no clients, no money, and no staff. Oh, and Soo-Yeon Lee is an undercover reporter.
I'm Anthony Barnett, and for many years I've been investigating the financial interest of politicians.
We used to call this back in the day, Lenny can back me up, we used to call this muckraking journalism. And it was about, finding the criminals in government and holding them accountable. The modern media apparatuses have successfully condemned this style of journalism. They basically say the only style of journalism is the access style of journalism that they do, the very placid and don't call people out, don't call people liars. Maybe they can be dishonest, but they're never a liar. Assume that they're good actors. So mainstream media press have shunned all this style of journalism away. So it's good to see it coming back.
Of all main parties. I was approached by Led by Donkeys to help them conduct an experiment after the recent scandals over MPs and their second jobs.
Exactly.
In the middle of a cost of living crisis, when people need their MPs more than ever, would a serving member of parliament still consider taking a job furthering the interests of a foreign company on top of their constituency duties? And how much would they want to be paid?
Second jobs.
Okay, so if you're not quite sure what the hell he just said, they're basically doing interviews with people, with politicians, and saying, hey, we're going to give you, do you want to be on our advisory board? And, how much would that cost us? Which is basically just, it's an underhanded way to bribe them, right? Hey, if our interests align, you could be on our advisory board and we'll give you a ridiculous salary.
Have been in the news a lot in recent years. The Owen Paterson scandal shook the House of Commons. Former Attorney General Sir Geoffrey Cox faced criticism for earning hundreds of thousands of pounds working as a lawyer. And then Matt Hancock took a six-figure sum to go into the jungle. Even Rishi Sunak said he was outraged at that, throwing Hancock out of the Conservative Parliamentary Party.
I've been very clear that I was very disappointed with the decision he made. I think there's lots for us all to be getting on with at this time, and that's what I think people should be focused on.
It's not against parliamentary rules for MPs to have second jobs or third jobs, and there are no restrictions on how much they can earn. In fact,
so employers get to pass fucking laws that say you're not allowed to do that, but politicians are allowed to have 3 or 4 jobs. Boy, they must be working real fucking hard over there in Parliament. They have time for a second or third job.
Some claim MPs having second jobs brings important experience into the House of Commons. But a clear majority of the public think it's wrong for serving MPs to also work for private companies. And while successive governments have promised action on MPs' outside interest, little appears to have changed.
This is
dozens of MPs now
corruption.
earn lucrative fees from second jobs. And as long as they don't lobby for those that pay them or provide paid parliamentary advice, they're not breaking any rules. And maybe that's the problem.
Now Led by Donkeys wanted to know if the recent backlash around MP second jobs had changed anything.
There was only one way to find out.
First, we needed a name for our fake business. We chose Hanson Consulting from South Korea. We knocked up a website describing ourselves as a boutique advisory firm providing tailored and holistic consultancy services, whatever that means. And then we added some testimonials from non-existent clients who wax lyrical about how brilliant we are at doing whatever it is that we do. Then we paid a few £100 for a fake virtual office, and just like that, Hanson Consulting was formed. It just needed
really
some
is
British
that easy.
MPs for its International Advisory Board.
It really is that
we
easy.
scrutinised the Parliamentary Register where MPs list their financial interests, and we examined their track records. We approached 20 MPs in total. Because the vast majority of MPs' outside income is earned by Conservative members of Parliament, we contacted 16 Tories, 2 Labour, 1 Lib Dem and 1 Independent MP. We emailed asking if they were interested in joining our International Advisory Board from April as we expanded into the UK and Europe. We said we wanted them to attend 6 board meetings a year in the UK, Europe and South Korea, in person or virtually, and to be available for one-off meetings. And we made it clear we wanted them for their political backgrounds to provide expert insight to help our clients navigate the shifting political, regulatory and legislative frameworks in the UK and Europe. We sent the emails to their parliamentary offices, sat back and waited. 12 MPs didn't get back to us, 2 politely declined, 1 expressed interest and went quiet, but 5 were interested enough to find time in their diaries for an exploratory meeting.
And soon enough, we were conducting job interviews with some well-known faces keen to work for our fake foreign company.
We would like to talk about arrangements of fees. I mean, do you have a daily rate?
Yeah, I mean, a yearly rate.
Yes.
I mean, I would say as an MP, obviously I don't need to earn a king's ransom, but I would do anything less than for about $10,000 a month.
Dollars or pounds?
Well, pounds sterling.
Sterling's okay. 10,000 pounds a month.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds.
What sort of ballpark are you looking at?
Actually, we were looking into. I mean, this is just a number that's in front of me. I put it down in my memo, so I'm just looking into it. So actually, we were looking into 8,000 to 12,000 pounds a day.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, Kim Goblin. I don't know.
How many days a month is that?
I mean, we have 6 board meetings, but it's just that.
Okay.
There will be more days back and forth. So.
Yeah, we're not a million miles off. Yeah. Okay. I mean, 8 to 10,000 a day. That's fine. But I'm
8 to
I'm
10
thinking
G
if there
a
are 12
day
days
to do
I
what?
do a year. That's 12. That's the numbers we can work. We can work with the numbers. But
Okay.
but yeah, 8 to
Hourly rates. Maybe. I mean, do you have any number in mind that you were thinking?
Well, around 1,500.
1,500?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a daily rate in mind at this case?
I don't know about a daily rate. I suppose seeing your approach and the kind of expectations you'd have, I was thinking something like £60,000.
60,000
as an annual,
pounds. Oh,
as an annual rate.
okay.
If
That's
you
certainly.
think that's far too cheap, let me know.
Over the next few days, join me and Led by Donkeys as we
Man, that
reveal
is
what
so
those 5
gross,
senior MPs
you know?
said in their job interviews with Hanson Consulting.
That is
Interviews
so
in which
gross.
they expressed interest in becoming well-paid board members and attending company meetings in the UK, Europe and South Korea.
Sir Gavin Williamson turned us down during the job interview, but the 4 other MPs had all been happy to go forward to the next stage.
Well, particularly if I'm going to Korea, I'd expect to be compensated for that.
Yes,
But,
definitely. We will arrange all
yeah.
the compensations and all that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 10,000 a day, and I'd invoice it each day. I wouldn't expect a regular retainer, but we could do it that way as well.
So 10,000 pounds a day.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. Absolutely insane corruption. Just out front. To do what? Did they ever talk about what they were going to pay you to do? 6 board meetings? Just attend some meetings? These fucking people. These are the fucking clowns that tell us they work harder than anybody. Wow. So more of that from Led by Donkeys, please. More of that, please. That's exactly the kind of muckraking journalism that we need to see more of. It's very expensive, though. The projects like that are not cheap. It requires money and resources. It's not fucking cheap, but it's damn important, especially if we're going to be, if you're trying to gin up support to change the law that allows them to moonlight 2 or 3 jobs. 2 or 3 jobs. Oh yeah, I'll take $10,000 a day, 10,000 pounds a day. That's pretty good. 10 some meetings. Yeah, whatever. Jesus Christ. Government for sale. There you go, YouTube. That's